All right, let's jump right into this explainer. I want you to imagine the unimaginable, just for a second. You are entirely alone, and you've just been severely injured. Maybe it's a gunshot wound. The clock is ticking, the panic is absolutely rising, and you have exactly 1 minute to make the decisions that are literally going to determine if you survive. Today, we're focusing on the core, foundational lessons for a catastrophic trauma situation where, well, help just isn't right around the corner. We're going to break down the critical survival guide for your first 60 seconds.
You know how in the movies, the second someone gets hurt, a hero or a medic just magically comes rushing in? It's dramatic, it's comforting, but it's a total Hollywood illusion. The reality? In that first minute of a crisis, the person most likely to save you is you. Military medicine actually has a very specific term for this, self-aid, and it is the absolute bedrock of survival. Before the ambulance arrives, honestly, before anyone even knows you're hurt, you are your own first responder.
Which brings us to the first phase. The first 60 seconds, recognizing the true threat.
Now, the absolutely crucial point here is identifying what is actually going to kill you in that short, fleeting window where you're still conscious and able to act. And the answer is blood loss. It's so easy to assume that the sheer shock of an injury, or say the kinetic impact of a bullet, is the primary enemy. Actually, scratch that. It's not. Severe bleeding is the leading cause of preventable death in these scenarios, and it can become completely fatal within minutes. Often, that happens way faster than professional help can possibly reach you. The clock starts the exact second the injury occurs, and blood loss is the fastest sand in that hourglass.
So what do we do about it? Rule 1, find the bleeding.
Once you know the threat, you have to locate exactly where it's happening on your body. But there is a massive trap here that the source material points out, and it's this: adrenaline lies. The place that hurts most is often not the place that is killing you. Think about how counterintuitive that is. When you're injured, your body is completely flooded with stress hormones. You are in a massive, high-stress, high-adrenaline state. Your pain receptors are going to be screaming at you for sure, but they might be screaming about a broken bone or a superficial scrape, while completely ignoring a much quieter but far deadlier, severe bleed right nearby. You simply cannot trust your sense of pain in an emergency.
So, if you can't trust the pain, what on earth do? You do a rapid physical scan. You quickly run your hands over your body, paying special attention to your arms and legs. Remember, you aren't looking for what hurts. Your hands and eyes are searching for wet blood, spreading blood, or pulsing blood. And just a quick note here, as we build this foundational framework for beginners, your extremities, your arms and legs, are where self-aid actually works the absolute best and fastest.
Okay, let's move on to Rule 2, relentless direct pressure. All right, so you've bypassed the adrenaline, you've run your hands over your limbs, and you've found the source of the bleeding. Now, you must stop the blood flow at all costs. The golden rule here: half pressure is no pressure. It's a surprisingly easy mistake to make, but you have to press directly into the wound, and you have to do it hard. Use your hand, use your knee, use a wadded up piece of cloth, literally whatever you have immediately available. Pressure works, but only if it doesn't let up. You cannot check the wound to see if it stopped bleeding. You cannot ease up just because your arms are getting tired. You apply maximum pressure and you hold it relentlessly.
Now, if that severe bleeding is on an arm or a leg, you step it up to a tourniquet. That's a device placed high and tight above a limb wound to immediately stop major bleeding. It is the fastest, most reliable way to control a massive hemorrhage on an extremity. But here's the really critical thing to know if you're learning this for the first time. Applying a tourniquet correctly causes intense, agonizing pain. And believe it or not, that pain is actually a good thing. It's a sign that the tourniquet is doing its job in occluding the artery. Do not loosen it just because it hurts.
And that leads us to the final phase. Rule 3, call, still, warm.
Let's assume you've stopped the bleed, the pressure is held, or that tourniquet is locked down tight. Now, we can finally take a breath and enter the last part of that golden minute. Let's systematically walk through these exact 3 micro actions. They need to happen sequentially right after the bleeding is under control. Step 1, call for help. But crucially, and this is so important, give your location first, before your name, before what happened. Why? Because if you pass out 10 seconds into the call, the emergency operators at least know where to send the ambulance. After you call, step 2 is to stay completely still, and step 3 is to stay warm.
Let's look at exactly why those last 2 steps are so vital. There is a fascinating biological reason why freezing in place is absolutely mandatory here. When you move, your heart rate naturally goes up, right? Which then raises your blood pressure. That spike in pressure can easily blow out the fragile clots you just fought so hard to create with your direct pressure. It's like bursting a dam you just built.
By staying completely still, you keep your heart rate down, you keep your blood pressure low, and you allow those life-saving clots to maintain their seal.
And finally, stay warm. Why? Because cold blood clots poorly. This isn't just about comfort, it's a vital medical necessity. When you lose blood, your body quickly loses its ability to regulate heat, and your core temperature drops rapidly. If your body temperature drops too low, your blood physically loses the chemical ability to clot. So grab a jacket, a blanket, anything you can reach without moving too much, and cover yourself. Keep that heat in so your blood can actually do its job.
So, wrapping this all up, you are the medic, the resolution.
Let's quickly recap what we've learned. Find the bleeding by bypassing the lies of adrenaline, apply relentless pressure or a tourniquet to stop the flow, and then wait for help while staying still and staying warm. Grasping these foundational steps completely shifts your mindset from being a helpless victim just waiting for rescue to being a capable first responder. As the source material perfectly states, self-aid is not heroism. It is the recognition that for the first few minutes, you are the medic. It's not about being fearless, guys. It's about being functional. It's about taking true ownership of that critical 1-minute window.
If you found this valuable and you want to keep building this kind of essential knowledge before you ever actually need it, I highly recommend you subscribe to the source of today's material, Austere Medicine. They do a phenomenal job covering the real, evidence-based care required when help is far away. Now, just a quick standard reminder that this explainer is strictly for educational and informational purposes only. It's not medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. In an actual emergency, always contact your local emergency services immediately. So, having covered all of this today, I'm going to leave you with one final thought to ask yourself. If the absolute worst happens, are you ready for your first 60 seconds? Stay safe out there.